Hi everyone. Hi Dr. Simon. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak a bit about Dr. Simon's teaching in the Symposium on American Art. So thrilled to be with you here virtually and to get to share a bit about my experience working with Dr. Simon. I am an MFA candidate at UGA. I'm a painting, drawing, and printmaking and book artist primarily. And so I studied with Dr. Simon in a course on Thomas Cole called A Higher Sort of Landscape Painting. And it was, I believe, the only time as a student of art history that I've gotten to examine the work of one particular artist in a great deal of detail, and we surveyed the entirety of Cole's major body of work from his earliest pieces all the way to the last works. And it was a thrill to be able to do that, and Dr. Simon throughout that course was just filled with passion and giving the most interesting lectures, filled with all kinds of images, detail images of Cole's work, many of which she had taken herself. And I think that sort of leads into just one of the things I really admire about Dr. Simon. As a painter, I love going to museums and kind of getting up as close as possible to paintings to look at their texture and almost put your nose up to it, so to speak. And I definitely felt that Dr. Simon had the same kind of energy and just enthusiasm for the art object. And she would do things like, in the middle of the semester, there was like a show on Thomas Cole that opened up in New Mexico, and she just like flew there on a weekend and got all these great images of Cole's studio and his work for us to be able to use in our research, in our presentations, and in our writings. And through that dedication to like going and looking and re-looking at artwork, that like sustained engagement and awareness, for us to be able to see that as students was very inspiring. But through that, we were able to, as a class, find new details in some of these paintings that maybe Dr. Simon or other scholars who have been looking at Cole and other artists in his milieu, we were able to find new details and extrapolate new meaning from that. And so it's sort of it was just an inspiring thing to see a teacher just in love with a topic, and it definitely informed my research in that class. I wrote about the sublime landscape in 3 acts was the title of my research paper, and I compared Thomas Cole's some of his landscapes with the works of the Italian Baroque painter Salvatore Rosa and the contemporary Los Angeles-based artist Emma Webster. And I examined particularly their work as a through line of the history of the sublime landscape from the Baroque era to now. And it was really interesting to see all the ways that topic has evolved, changed over time, responded to its critics. It's received a lot of criticism from many different avenues, and to see how artists double down sometimes or contort their work in order to sort of like pursue what they're really interested in, look backwards, and also reflect on their current moment in that context. And so it was such a pleasure to be able to do that work alongside Dr. Simon. And Dr. Simon is such an encouraging teacher. That's something, as an emerging educator, I definitely take from you, Dr. Simon, is you have this contagious enthusiasm, like a sort of almost like childlike wonder about the subject that is being studied, that we're investigating together, and also your students' ideas, and taking something that a student will say in class and just seizing on it and saying like, wow, that's amazing. Can you elaborate on that some more? Some of my favorite teachers, even going back through undergrad shared that joy in teaching and in sharing knowledge. And it's something that I've always found a great pleasure with taking your classes, Dr. Simon, is feeling that collaborative research, that energy that you bring to teaching. So that's just very inspiring. So thank you for that. I guess I'll just end the video by giving a little plug to the current MFA exhibit, which I'm sure most of you have already been to, but I'm showing a body of work that is influenced by my research that I pursued with Dr. Simon in her class about the sublime landscape and taking new spins on it. There's a lot of other ingredients in there as well, but it had a huge impact on my work that I'm showing in the MFA show. And Dr. Simon, I just wish you such a wonderful time in your upcoming retirement. I know you'll have some exciting travels and more arts research, but on your own terms, which is always the best kind of research, I feel. So, bon voyage, and thank you all again for your attention, and I wish you all a wonderful rest of the symposium here, and a great summer. So thank you all so much.